Hello, Nabla has recently released their new collection of singles and I made my order. I will explain why, I will justify my reasoning behind my choices, I will suggest the best picks, and I'll give you my unique perspective. Nabla is an indie brand based in Italy. So most of you may know Nabla because of their palettes. They have become famous because of the price point. They can guarantee high quality with a, acceptable mid-range price. Most of you may not know that they started with singles in a time 10 years ago where there were brands like Makeup Geek. They were trying to dupe MAC, and so the concept was that of custom-made palettes with more affordable eyeshadows compared to MAC Cosmetics. And Nabla was the Italian version, let's say, of Makeup Geek, but was much more than that because they were eco-friendly, already conscious of ingredients. At that time, there was a battle against silicones, and those eyeshadows were quite cheap, €6.50 each, compared to €14 of a single MAC cosmetic pan. And you could compose your palette. They started with the black magnetic palettes and then they evolved into those very decorated palettes. So they had a core collection of singles, and twice or three times a year, I don't remember anymore, they add collections. There was the trend of mineral makeup or eco-friendly makeup, organic makeup, and it was revolutionary. They went quite well. They were very popular in Italy. At that time, I lived in the Netherlands, and I remember that I made this big order with core shades, and especially that collection that was for holiday 2016 that was based on Art Deco, and that was the time when I decided to buy something from the brand. This is a palette that was released for that collection, and you can see that this is inspired, by Paris in the early 20th century. We are talking about the time where the Tour Eiffel was built. We are talking about Art Nouveau and Art Deco. So in 2016, Nabla also introduced what they defined as celestial shade. They had this amazing shade that is called Dane with this wet effect. So I would say these resemble those shades that were very popular at that time, that are the glittery shade from Charlotte Tilbury and also the glittery shade from Tom Ford. I remember I compared them and they were undistinguishable. It is still, in my opinion, one of the best finish by Nabla. And Nabla has proposed now an updated version of this celestial finish, and they still call it Celestial. Their last collection of singles was in 2017, summer 2017, and was called Free Domination. And they only proposed, unfortunately, this small palette with this amazing, colorful cover. That was the time where they were trying to expand to US, and it was difficult to ship these palettes. I believe there was something related to copyright with Z palette, because for some reason they could not ship these palettes to US. And I think is because, as you can see, these palettes, apart from the size, they're very reminiscent, they are quite close, and there may be something that was patented in US so that Nabla could not sell these palettes in US. Only people that received PR could get them. Normal customers could not buy the palette. In my personal opinion, I have no confirmation, but in my opinion, I think that was one of the reasons why they switched to palettes. They were starting to become popular in US, and to do so they could not go further with these concept of palettes because of the copyright issues. So they started with the palettes that were reasonably priced. I don't have the palettes because unfortunately I don't like their color stories. Rosy pink, warm, and that is not my style. Is still not my style, so they were not appealing to me, so I stopped purchasing Nabla. since then. My, again, personal opinion is that they wanted to go back to the origins and propose again singles. After Free Domination, actually, there was a glitch, so they proposed actually only mattes with this collection that was inspired by feathers, with these feathers on the cover. It was very nice, pretty and girly, but the collection was made only of mattes. And this was not very successful because it was in competition with the palettes, and of course the palettes were much more reasonably priced compared to a palette that was composed of singles. So this was, let's say, a glitch, and after that they stopped releasing singles and they discontinued their singles. Another thing that I would like to mention is that since the Free Domination, so since 2017, they introduced a soft matte with silicones. They started to go towards the newest formula. This was an example from that collection, Free Domination collection, and is a soft matte that was called Lotus. It has an incredible formula. It's very silky smooth. Trendy shade right now. The size of the NABLA pens until today has always been bigger than normal. It was the same size of the old Pat McGrath of the big mothership or the 6 pens. So these are the potted Pat McGrath. I mean, this one that was the platinum bronze, and this one was a limited edition one. These are NABLA, and as you can see, they are undistinguishable. So these are my favorite shades from NABLA, but unfortunately they are discontinued. I want to share with you the finishes. So these were satin. This is one of my favorite shades. It's called Madreperla, so Mother Pearl. They used to have Italian names with a few English names, but now they have switched to almost all English names. See how beautiful it is. And this was the satin formula, you know, that was popular at that time. Right now it seems outdated because we are used to shinier formulas. So I understand their move to discontinue their old shades and completely reformulate and propose new shades. The new shades, I don't have confirmation yet, but I believe they are smaller pans, so like this. By the way, this I think is a depotted Pat McGrath statuesque. So this is the difference, and I believe the new shades have this size. This is the level of shimmers they add. And since then, also in the palette, they evolved. Right now they have proposed new mattes where they have removed talc, so I expect the same silkiness of these soft mattes we are now used to as customers, very silky smooth. But the new mattes do not contain talc because NABLA has always paid attention to trends. So years ago they wanted to provide shades without silicones, and now they are providing shades without talc because that is the trend right now. The Celestial has been reproposed, so I have 2 examples of Celestial shades, and you can see the wet look. This is still trendy and impactful, amped up compared to their old shimmery formula. With the glittery quality of these shades, they could go towards complexity because you can see here how complex is Selfish. Unfortunately, they haven't proposed Selfish. So my conclusion is, what are the best shades to pick right now by NABLA? I'm curious about the new matte, talc-free, and I think that their best formulation is the Celestial. The multichromes, they have introduced the multichromes, but in my opinion the multichromes are not unique shades because those are the standard grayish base multichromes with the exception of one that is the lighter one. The other reason is that those multichromes tend to be flat, not very sparkly. I personally have those shades, so I would pick just one shade to check the texture, but from what I've seen, is not particularly sparkling, is nothing like Cliona glittery multichromes, for example. Let's compose a palette together and I will explain my choices. They allow you to compose your own palette. The official NABLA Cosmetics website is the only place where you can find all the singles, including the limited edition ones, and you can compose your own palette, because unfortunately the other retailers have pre-made palettes that are quite standard, not my favorites. So they practically encourage you to purchase from their own website. If you are new to multichromes, you can try these ones. There are 4. My favorite is Candy Notes, to be honest. The blue one and the green one, you may have them from the Triochrome palette by Natasha Denona. They are very similar to those. Or you may have them from Cleona. And this Solar Notes as well is not so innovative. This one, Candy Notes, reminds me of Cleona Cosmetics Ray, but yeah, I would pick one just to try the formula. And then the other shades that I would recommend are, as I said, the Celestial shades. That are these one at the bottom. So the must-haves are Mirror. Mirror is actually a wet effect champagne shade that is the new proposal, the new version, amped up version of one of their best sellers, that is Water Dream. And another must have is Cannabis. This is the Celestial version of Alchemy that I believe was just a shimmer. It was a bestseller, and so they have proposed the Celestial version of it. And I would complete the quad with another Celestial shade that is Lychee. This is not so spectacular as Mirror or Cannabis. So Mirror and Cannabis. So this is my ideal quad. The problem is that if you add this to the cart, you are below 50 euros. That is a threshold for free shipping in Italy. So as a second palette, I would pick mattes, to be honest. I'm intrigued by these limited edition mattes, especially Bergamot. So Bergamot, I think, is the most unique shade in the range, in between yellow and green, and bright. I thought about this shade to be mixed with other shades to color correct and to lighten up. And then also Taif Rose is a baby pink, and you know that baby pink is the color of the moment. Have you seen all these baby pink blushes that even lean toward lavender? So I think this is a fun shade. From the swatches I've seen, is more cool toned than it appears here. Two must-haves in my opinion are Ambra Grigia, a bluish gray that I'm curious to see how similar it is to my favorite mattes like Viseart, for example. And the other one that I'm intrigued about is Mushroom. In my opinion, it's a cool brown with a touch of mustard. So I would like to check this in person to see. So this would be my companion palette that has some variety and a touch of uniqueness, freshness for summer, but it allows to be also conservative with the bottom row. So this would be a perfect, more original, let's say, matte quad. Have you picked something from NABLA? Do you know the brand? Do you like the brand? Let me know in the comments below. See you in my next video. Bye bye.